Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, and in today's video, I'll bring you guys Week 17 tight end start or sit decisions. In this video, I'm going to be going over every single matchup from Sunday's slates of games. I'll tell you whether you should start or sit the tight ends at each and every single matchup. Now, before we end up getting into this, I'd like to ask if at any point in this video you end up enjoying, please make sure that you hit that subscribe button down below, because not only is it free, I put out content every single day to help you guys win that 2020 Fantasy Football Championship. And guess what? Next year, we're going to do the same fucking thing and win your 2021 Fantasy Football Championship. I hope you guys all had a great New Year's Eve last night, had a great New Year. 2021, we're going to be doing the exact same thing, eating W's like our name was famous, Jameis Winston. So real quick, before we get deep into this one, I'd like to give you guys a quick word from my friends, my sponsor over at OverlayDFS.com. OverlayDFS.com is my favorite place to play daily fantasy sports on the whole World Wide Web. Now, typically I play in the matchup shop. They also offer progressive tournaments that you guys can enter as well, but we're going to be talking about the matchup shop here. The matchup shop is very, very simple. I'll show you guys examples from last night's game from the Dallas Cowboys up against the Baltimore Ravens. Who scores more fantasy points? Amari Cooper -2 or CeeDee Lamb +2? The correct answer was Amari Cooper -2. A lot of these are really no-brainer questions. Who scores more fantasy points? Zeke -7 or Tony Pollard +7? It is so simple to win money on OverlayDFS.com. All you do is you pick one of these and you select how much you want to bet on each and every single matchup. You can pick one, you can pick all 7, you can parlay them all together. It does not matter. It's so easy to win on OverlayDFS.com. Make sure you guys check it out. You do all this research all week long to win your fantasy matchup. Why not win some extra cash on top on OverlayDFS.com? And we are back. If at any point in this video you see my face light up with some weird color, it's because the college football game Clemson versus Ohio State is on above me. I'm not watching it, obviously, because I'm talking to you guys, but it is on so I can see the score change in case something happens, because I bet on the Clemson Tigers. So maybe we'll see them win this game. But with that said, let's get into it. First game here, the Vikings at the Detroit Lions. And this one, I like both tight ends. TJ Hawkinson has just been all reliable this whole season. The real question is, do we see Matt Stafford suit up or not? Obviously, it matters, and it's much better for TJ Hawkinson if Matthew Stafford is under center. We saw last week up against Tampa Bay when the Lions were getting their back blown out, and Stafford was not in the game. It just wasn't very good for Hawkinson, just wasn't getting a lot of targets. Now, if Stafford plays, I really like Hawkinson. If not, though, up against the Minnesota Vikings, I still think TJ Hawkinson is a solid play in Week 17. Irv Smith also seems to be a good play this week, as the Lions defense also is not all that good, and the Vikings are going to do Vikings things, and this should be a very high-scoring game if Stafford plays. If not, I expect the Vikings to destroy these motherfuckers, considering they don't have Dalvin Cook, and they're probably just going to throw it all over the yard. Next game here, we got the Atlanta Falcons at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and just like with our past matchup, I like both tight ends on this game. Hayden Hurst going up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is no soft serve matchup, but without a doubt, last time we saw these two teams go toe-to-toe, the Atlanta Falcons started off very strong in this game and then ended up choking later. Sound like something we've seen before. The Falcons up against Tom Brady. A bit of a choke action there, but it's okay, because Hayden Hurst should be able to perform in this one up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, the Bucs do have a very solid defense, but at the end of the day, a lot of the time, they're not that defense that we saw a couple weeks into the year where they're just beating the shit out of these teams. The teams aren't being able to do anything. Recently, they haven't been as good, so I think Hayden Hurst should have a solid game here. Rob Gronkowski is just a locked and loaded start at this point in the season. We saw him start off very slow, but this week up against the Atlanta Falcons, it can't get much easier than that for a big game out of Rob Gronkowski. I love him here up against the Atlanta Falcons. Next game here, we got the New York Football Jets at the New England Deflatriots, and in this one, I don't like either of these tight ends. Chris Herndon is one of the better tight ends, in my opinion, based on a metric standpoint, right? This guy's jacked. He's got the athleticism. He's got the speed. He's got everything that you want out of a tight end, but his tight end is getting screwed by Adam Gase, because Adam Gase has this man fucking hooked up to some handcuffs, 50 Shades of Grey style, to where he can't do anything. But I do like Chris Herndon next season. Once they get that man, Adam Gase, out of there, Devin Asiasi is going to be a sit for me in this one. The Patriots just don't use that single tight end like they used to back in the day with Robert Gronkowski. Next game here, we got the Miami Dolphins at the Buffalo Bills. Now, even though Dawson Knox is not a guy you're looking to start in fantasy football, I have no idea what to think about this Buffalo Bills offense, the defense, anything in this game. I don't know what type of personnel is going to be in this game. They're saying they're keeping it under wraps, so we will know right before Sunday, does Josh Allen play the whole game? Does he play a drive? Does he play a half? I don't know. Beats me. Literally have no idea. Does Diggs play the whole game? Diggs got banged up last week. Did I sit Diggs? Cole Beasley, is he going to play? Probably not. I mean, I don't know. I really, as a Dolphins fan, I want us to beat the Bills, but I really have no idea which type of a Buffalo Bills team we'll see on Sunday. Is it the Bills at full strength, or is it like the fucking C squad? For the Buffalo Bills, Mike Gesicki is going to be a start for me regardless of who they are facing. Mike Gesicki is an insta-lock for a start. He is one of Tua's only guys that he can rely on down in, down out. I don't think anyone says that. Play in, play out. Every single fucking play, Mike Gesicki is open. He's always open. And Tua always throws him the fucking ball. Tua actually trusts him, so I expect Mike Gesicki to have a really strong game to finish the year up against the Buffalo Bills. Next game here, we got the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Cleveland Browns. Now, the Steelers, who are they starting? Who are they sitting? You have no idea. This is the biggest issue with Week 17 championships is shit like this. Tomfoolery. We have no idea what's going to happen. They're not playing Big Ben, but do they play Juju? Are they playing Chase Claypool? Are they playing Eric Ebron? I don't know. But with Mason Rudolph under center, I think the Browns may kick the ever-living shit out of them. So I don't expect Eric Ebron to be all that useful in this one. I think Austin Hooper should be pretty solid in this one for the Cleveland Browns. Next game here, we got the Cowboys at the New York Football Giants. And in this one, I like Evan Ingram. Now, Evan Ingram is one of those type of players where you always start him, and he's either going to have a good game or a completely awful game. Evan Ingram's either going to bend your opponent over this table and just go to town on that supple ass of whoever your opponent is, or does the thing to you. Fucking, instead of nutting all up in that guy, he spins it around and just nuts all up in your eye, Greg Olsen style. Evan Ingram just is that guy. He's either going to play really good or really bad. That's just how you kind of have seen him play this season. So I'm going to believe in Evan Ingram, but again, I would not put 100% confidence in him having a humongous game, but I will be starting him up against a not-so-hot Dallas defense, Dalton Schultz. If you're in a deeper kind of league, I would categorize him as a start because he's one of those main pieces in this Dallas offense. But with that said, I think the Giants end up winning this game. I don't think it's going to be very high scoring, so I think Dalton Schultz kind of gets cucked out of this one. Next game up, we got the Baltimore Ravens at the Cincinnati Bengals. In this one, I like Mark Andrews. The Baltimore Ravens have to win this game to get into the playoffs, which means they are going to be fired up and ready to fucking roll in this one. Now, the Cincinnati Bengals are on a certified fucking heater after winning not one, but 2 games in a row. Do they even need Joe Burrow? Maybe Brandon Allen's the answer. Winky face, winky face, winky face. Mark Andrews, though, should be pretty hot in this one up against a Bengals defense that isn't all that good, but has played pretty strong as of recently. The fake tight end, Drew Sample, is going to be a sit for me unless Joe Burrow's under center. I don't trust Drew Sample worth anything. Next game here, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Indianapolis Colts. Another matchup here where we just have 2 complete and utter duds at the tight end position, just like in the Jets game, where I don't really want to start either tight end in this one. Tyler Eifert could be good, but he's touchdown dependent, and the Jaguars might get their shit kicked in by the Colts, so I wouldn't really trust him. For the Colts, they have too many faces there at the tight end position. We know Phillip Rivers loves that tight end. There's a reason why this man has 11 kids, because he just loves that tight end. But Jack Doyle, Mo Alley Cox, Trey Burton is just too many fucking players, too many cooks in the kitchen for the Indianapolis Colts tight end crew to really know which one to start, so I'm just going to go ahead and label them all as a sit in Week 17. Next game here, we got the LA Titans at the Houston Texans. This one should be a pretty good game because the Titans, for some reason, need to win this game. Because there's a 2% fucking chance that if they lose the game, then they get bounced out of the playoffs. They're gonna make it, guys, just so you know. I think they're gonna end up making it, but the Titans have looked pretty solid. They did get railed, dick down in Dallas by the Green Bay Packers last week, but I expect a big bounce back here up against a very bad Houston Texans team. I like none of these tight ends, though. Jonnu Smith, you could kind of do some mental gymnastics into liking him, but I think this one could be a very run-heavy game by the Titans, so I don't think Jonnu gets all that wet in this one, and Jordan Atkins is going to be a sit for me as well, because the Houston Texans, unless the guy scores a touchdown, he's going to be pretty irrelevant. Next game here, we got the Arizona Cardinals at the Los Angeles Rams. In this one, I'm going to be sitting down both tight ends, Dan Arnold Schwarzenegger, Dan Arnold Nata. Dan Arnold, get to the chopper. Oh man, my fucking my voices have been pretty on point recently, but I don't think that one was all that good if I'm being honest. But Dan Arnold actually may be a guy next year in fantasy that I like. I kind of talk about this every week because he does show these promising games, but with Kyler banged up against the Rams defense, I'm kind of just staying away from Dan Arnold. Tyler Higbee. That's what we call a bust. Tyler Higbee was a bust this season, all over your face, Ron fucking Jeremy style, and you're Mia Malkova. Okay? You're done for if you drafted Tyler Higbee. He completely fucking sucked. He's had like 2 good games. Capiche, caposh. Get him out of here. Get out of here. Tyler Higbee is going to be a sit for me this week. Next game here, we got the Saints at the Carolina Panthers. In this one, I'm going to be starting Jared Cook because the Saints need to win to get that number uno spot. Something interesting about the NFC East, the 1 spot is not locked up. So, Jared Cook and friends of the New Orleans Saints will be playing, but how much of the game will they play is the question. Do we see a full slate of the whole Saints team the whole game? I don't know, but I'd still play Jared Cook in this one. Ian Thomas is going to be a sit. Why? Because you haven't started him all year, so why change that up now? If you guys have enjoyed this video thus far, please make sure that you hit that subscribe button down below. Again, not only is it free, I put out content every single day to help you guys win that 2020 Fantasy Football Championship. Packers at Bears. I'll be starting up Robert Tonyan in this one. Why? Because he's good. He's very good. He got snubbed out of a Pro Bowl because the Pro Bowl means nothing because it's voted on by the fucking fans. Fuck. How did he not get in? Robert Tonyan's been balling on the usual like Kobe 24. Robert Tonyan has been on fire up against the Bears. I think he puts up yet another good game. Cole Kmet as well as Jimmy Graham are going to be sits for me for these Chi-Town Bears. But Jimmy Graham has been riding kind of a heater as he scored 3 touchdowns in the last 2 games. Next game here is the Los Angeles Chargers at the Kansas City Chiefs. Another instance of Week 17 just fucking raw dogging you. Travis Kelce gets you all the way here, has been balling every single game this season, has been an unreal talent for fantasy football, and guess what? He's going to sit his ass down on the bench against the Chargers because they don't have to win this game. Sorry, that's what happens. Week 17 fantasy football kind of sucks in that case. Hunter Henry got the Rona. He's sitting, so Darnold Parham is going to be starting for the Chargers. If you remember, this guy famously dropped the ball. It was like week 7? 8, something like that for the Chargers. They were winning. They're driving down the field. He tries to get the toe tap in, doesn't get it. They lose the game. Pretty funny. Donald Parham is going to be a sit, though, in this matchup. Next game here, we got the Seahawks at the San Francisco 49ers. In this one, I'm going to be firing up George Kittle. George Kittle made his triumphant return last week, beat down whoever. I don't even remember who they played last week, but he did play quite well. And then after, he was like, I love the Bears, blah, 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 because they helped the Bears get another fucking spot. George Kittle is a baller. You have to play him. This guy's one of the best tight ends in fantasy football. And even if the 49ers don't give a fuck, they will still put up some points up against the Seattle Seahawks. Jacob Hollister, Will Disley, third leg, Greg Olsen, all going to be sits for me because I do not like tight ends by committee. Next game here, we got the Las Vegas Raiders at the Denver Broncos. In this one, I like both tight ends, Darren Waller, just like with Kelce. Just like with Kittle. When these motherfuckers are healthy, they are a force to be reckoned with. Darren Waller has been unreal this season. Unreal. He put up 3 games, and it was like 370 yards. Some fucking redonkadonk. Darren Waller has been on a tear. Up against the Broncos should be quite easy for him. Noah Fant. Up against the Raiders defense should bode pretty well for Mr. Fant here in this matchup. Next game here, we got the Washington football team at the Philadelphia Eagles. And we are not going to be starting the running backs in this one because this is a tight end video. In this Monday night special, we are going to be firing up Logan Thomas for the Washington football team. For some reason, they just forgot how good Terry McLaurin is, and they just keep using Logan Thomas, Dwayne Haskins, fucking Heineken, doesn't matter who the quarterback is. Logan Thomas is still going to play good. I like Thomas here up against the Philadelphia Eagles. For the Eagles, Dallas Goedert is going to be out of this game. He ended up getting hurt last week. And then Zach Ertz might be the starter for this week. But Zach Ertz is not the Zach Ertz of 2017. There's no way in fuck you're losing your championship with Zach Ertz in that lineup. So sit his ass down. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you did end up enjoying this video, please make sure that you hit that subscribe button down below. I love each and every single one of you guys. Have a great rest of your guys' day. As always, good boy. OverlayDFS.com as well. Bye-bye.